Hey y'all, Stephanie with Minimalist Mom Life. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am answering the questions that y'all left to me on my 500 subscriber video and the ones that some of you sent me on Instagram. I promise I won't let this video get too long. I think I can get everything answered in about 20 minutes, but if not, I'll split it into two videos. I've got Lucy here in my lap, so she'll probably make an appearance in a little bit. The rest of my kids should be napping right now, so hopefully nobody else will make an appearance. So let's get right to the questions. The first question comes from Felicia Holland, and Felicia and I actually went to college together, so go Rams, woohoo! Her first question is, what tip/advice do you have for dealing with bad days? I think prayer is my number one tip, taking all of your problems to the Lord, casting all of your anxiety on Him because He cares for you. I think other tips would be, I've heard, think about if you're having, a problem that day or just a bad day, is it something you'll even remember in a month, the problem or what's going on? Is it something you'll remember in a year? Kind of puts it in perspective for, how bad of a problem really is it? How much should you allow it to really affect you? Is it going to even affect you long term? Or is this just, planet Earth stuff? I also love the whole concept of, hashtag first world problems, because we can get so, petty about things, and we can end up having a bad day over things that really just aren't a big deal at all in the grand perspective of things. But then I also think it's important to know, everybody has bad days. That's just going to happen. A bad day is not a bad life. A bad day is not a bad year. Bad behaviors from your kids don't make them a bad kid. So just kind of putting that in perspective. I would also say if you're having a bad day, don't talk to somebody else who loves to vent and loves to feed off of negativity. Talk to the people in your life that are happy and positive, because if you don't, then you'll just kind of end up complaining more and more, and it can become feeling much more worse than it actually is. Do I have a favorite quote? Oh, I should have read this ahead of time and prepared, because I have a million favorite quotes. I would say right now, because this comes to mind first, other than scripture or hymns that I love, on my hymn wall behind me, I would say a quote that I'm loving right now. We just got it put in our dining room on a cute little wooden board from one of my sorority sisters, is, if you have more than you need, build a longer table, not a taller fence. And I just love that. I just love that. Not getting all political here, but I just love that and really believe in loving people and sharing what you have. So that would be my favorite quote right now. What advice do you have for newlyweds? Ooh, have premarital counseling. If you didn't get premarital counseling before you actually got married, get it once you're married. I would also say put the other's needs above yourself, and then just be prepared to walk in humility. My first year of marriage, a lot of people say the first year is the hardest, and we had a very easy first year. We've had an easy 5 years, I would say. But I would say the thing that surprised me about marriage my first year was that it wasn't that oh, that's crooked. Sorry, need to fix that. It wasn't that I saw all these flaws in my husband. Some people are they go into marriage thinking they're marrying a Ken doll, and then he's not. It wasn't that. It was more I saw all these flaws in myself. Being married showed me how selfish I was. And that was really hard to oh my gosh, I'm really selfish. I'm really, really sinful. So be prepared just to apologize and walk in humility and consider their needs before your own. Just side kind of funny tidbit, don't be petty. It's really easy as girls, because we're emotional sometimes, to get mad about stupid things. True story, Jason and I's first fight when we were married, and we had been married for I don't even know, 3 months, not very long, was over something he said about how much my cat loved me. And I went to work that morning not speaking to my husband. This is so dumb to even admit. Over something he said about my cat. So, yeah, don't do that. Don't be petty. Alright, so that's all for Felicia's questions. I got asked by a couple people. Okay, so Amy Nature and then Sarah from Happy Home Life. She has a YouTube channel that I love. Hi, Sarah. And hi, Amy. Asked the question. Well, so Amy asked it, and then Sarah says her question too. I know you said this was your last pregnancy, but do you still plan to add to your family through foster care and adoption? So we do. We plan in 4 or 5 years to adopt internationally. Is kind of what we've been thinking. Jason and I have been saving for an international adoption since we first got married, but they cost between $25,000 and $40,000. So we'll continue saving for that. Should have that done in a few years. And that's kind of the plan, is international adoption. But we are open to, if God says, no, I intend for you to do foster care and adopt, which is how we adopted the first time, then we will certainly go that route and do that. So we're not sure how, but we do plan to adopt one more time to have a total of 5 little Brutuses one day. And then the Babcocks ask, how have you grown your YouTube channel? Any tips for a small YouTuber getting started? So they have a channel, guys, so check them out. I am still a small YouTube channel, and I have no idea how to grow one. So I would say there's lots of people that make videos about how to grow a YouTube channel, and I don't really know. Honestly, just don't know. But good luck. I hope your channel grows. I hope it goes well. Next question is from Audrey Lee Young, and Audrey is somebody that I go to church with right now, and she's a total sweetheart. So she has lots of questions, and let's see if I can not miss one in reading all of them. When did you first decide to be a minimalist, and why? So I never really decided to be a minimalist. I would say I'm one of those people that is kind of bent that way. I really like everything to be really clean, and I just don't like visual clutter. Like, it can just give me a headache, I feel like, if there's too much going on. Not in other people's homes. I could care less if I go to somebody's home and it's full of stuff. That doesn't bother me. But in my own space, I just like things to be clear. That's just more peaceful to me. So I have not had, I would say I've been kind of minimalistic even since high school. And then it's just grown and grown. And I really love to do stuff. Love to travel. Been lots of places, had lots of fun experiences like skydiving and scuba diving and higher balloon rides and stuff like that. So my natural bent there too, and focus has been on experiences, not stuff. So most of my hobbies don't really involve things, and so so that's kind of been an easy. Oh, I see somebody getting ready to go to the bathroom. Kind of been an easy, I guess, process for me. I have never had this big decluttering movement where, hi Martin, you can come sit on the couch, buddy. I'm almost done. Where I I have all this stuff and then I purge it and go through that. I've never done that. I am consistently, sit on the couch, buddy. Right now. Yeah. Thank you. I am consistently going through stuff as I bring stuff in the house. I make sure something's going out usually, but never been strict about it. Never. Minimalism, kind of the name, came about because as I was blogging, when I had more of a focus on a blog before I started my channel, and even my Instagram, people were always like, oh, tell me more about minimalism. And even the caseworkers that would come to our home when we were doing foster care were like, oh yeah, so you're a minimalist? And I was like, I guess. So it kind of more came about oh, there's a title for that. And I think now it's kind of a trend. That'll probably die out soon, but yeah, that's where the name came from. Rumor has it you were once a beauty queen. How did you like that? Did you win any titles? I loved it. I did beauty pageants in high school, but they were just the little ones at the mall and stuff, but I still loved that. And then I never won overall winner in any of those. I'd be first runner-up, prettiest eyes, stuff like that, but nothing huge or big. And then in college, I think it was my sophomore year of college, I did the pageant for the town that I was living in, and I won that. So I got to go to the Miss Texas USA pageant, and I still have my sash and stuff, and that was so fun. Absolutely loved that. It was an amazing experience of 3 days of they filmed the pageant, all that stuff. So that was a lot of fun, very intense. One thing I didn't know going into it was for state level pageants, a lot of the girls had won their city's title 5 years in a row. So they had been to that state pageant trying to become Miss Texas USA 5 different times. So very intense. Beauty pageants are also very expensive, but so fun. Would totally go back and do it all over again. I don't know, maybe one day when Lucy's all grown, she'll be in beauty pageants. We'll see. Her next question is, what book of the Bible are you currently reading? So, I am reading the book of Jeremiah, the weeping prophet. And it is good. Jeremiah, I would say it's hard for me to read the Old Testament because there's just a lot of history there, and it's maybe not as, on the surface, it maybe doesn't feel like it's as applicable to our lives now as the New Testament. But I really love Jeremiah for just God's reaction to their sin. I think can really speak to us in a convicting way of God takes sin very seriously. And obviously we have grace through the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ, but still we can't mess around with our sin and just be it doesn't matter, because it does. So I'm reading Jeremiah. I am reading and listening through the Bible this year for one of my 30 before 30s, and so I finished the New Testament. And I'm in Genesis is what I'm listening to, and then Jeremiah is what I'm reading right now. So if you don't listen to the Bible and you're a busy mom, side tip, I highly recommend that as a way to get more Bible time in. The Bible app, just on, they have it for Droid, they have it for iPhones, whatever, has a free audio Bible, and you can actually even like download it to your phone, so you don't need Wi-Fi for it. So kind of cool. And she said, "What editing do you use?" Martin, you need to go sit on the couch. I just use iMovie on my phone. Do you see yourself working outside of the home at some point before all your kids are out of the house, or will you stay home until you're an empty nester? I don't know. I could see myself working part-time if all of our kids go to school. I would love to do that back in my profession, but I was an investigator for Child Protective Services. It's what I've done for work, and that is not ever a part-time position. So I don't see myself going back to that, probably until my kids are in college. That's a very emotionally demanding, mentally demanding job, and can have kind of crazy hours because you're dealing with families in crisis. Okay, but where do you need to be sitting, buddy? Thank you. Mommy's almost done. So if there was something else, like kind of in that area that I could do part-time, I could see doing that maybe when my kids are in middle school or high school. But I've always aspired to be like June Cleaver and like at home waiting for them with chocolate chip cookies when they get home and hearing about their day. And I've always wanted our house to be the one where all the kids can gather after school. So don't really see myself going back anytime soon. And obviously that would also be different if we end up homeschooling. We don't know what we're going to do with school. So that is all for the questions that I have on YouTube. So let me get over to the ones that were sent to me on Instagram. Let's see. Okay, so Faith Grace Love, and I responded to her, and I was like, oh, I think she meant that for the video. So I get to answer it for her and then for y'all. She has 2 in diapers, so what do I have? She has 4 kids, 2 that are both still in diapers. What type of diapers, wipes do you use to save money but get decent quality diapers? So wipes for sure. Costco's brand of wipes are fantastic. They're big. You don't need to use a lot of them. I feel like when I buy cheaper brand wipes, like Targets and stuff, sometimes I end up using a ton of them, so I don't really end up saving any money. But I love that. I love Costco's. Even when they're not on coupon, they're still a good deal, and every couple months they put them on coupon. They're a great deal, and it's a huge box. So love those. And then as far as diapers, I like to usually get our diapers at Costco when they're on coupon as well, or I will get Target's brand or Love's. I feel like under the age of 1, the brand of diapers is kind of all equal as far as how well they work, but once they're over 1 and their bladders are bigger, I feel like you usually have to buy like Love's. We've had like so-so quality with the Up and Up Target brand. Every once in a while I'll try Walmart's brand again, just hoping it works well, and it doesn't really. And this is mom life for you guys, so still keeping it real even in a sit-down video. Hope y'all like that. Okay, so that was her question. And then Brett, a girl that is one of my friends from our church in Texas, asked, how do you get your kids to nap or have rest time at the same time? Does it happen? Any advice? So this is rest time right now, and obviously one of my children is resting near me, not actually napping. So generally I get all 4 of them to nap at the same time, yes. And the way I do that is putting down, I kind of carry Lucy around with me because she is still nursing, usually just in my arms, or I'm able to get her down sometimes before we start nap time, but we do nap time right after lunch. Martin, don't play with that, that's noisy. Where are you supposed to be sitting? Get your car out and then go sit back down. Thank you. So, nap time. Oh, mom brain. Okay, so I usually have Lucy kind of just still nursing and stuff because she's still with me. We do nap time right after lunch, and they can have a cup of milk, and then it's time to take their nap. And so George goes to his bed. Usually I have to take him back 2 or 3 times, reminding him that it's nap time. Depending on how worn out they are, though, it's easier. Like, I suggest wearing your kids out to where they have to have that nap. And then Elliot sometimes puts himself to bed if I just tell him to go get in his bed and give him his blanket and stuff. And other times I have to go in there and rock him a little bit, and that works if Lucy's already down. If she's not down, I will just nurse her and sit like on the edge of his little toddler bed, and he just kind of wants me there, and then he passes out. And then this guy, that's the one time that he gets a show. So we don't like a lot of screen time in our house. We don't even have like TV, but I will sometimes put something on for him on the computer. for like 20 minutes, and he gets to watch that and rest, and that's my lunchtime is during that time. Now that Lucy is here, I'm still often nursing and holding somebody during lunch, but I still feel like that is my like lunch break. If you've watched my nap time routine video, you know that I really protect that time and feel like that's important. It helps me take my day seriously and like it's an actual job when I also give myself breaks. So I like my little lunchtime after that. He has been napping. Usually he just snuggles up to me and Lucy and goes to sleep. But if he is not tired, then I just ask him to be quiet so he can play quietly. He's in our room then because he and George share a room, and George is already sleeping. Elliot's in his room sleeping, so he's in our room for his rest time and his nap if he takes it. But I also use that time to do like a reading lesson with him and spend some time with him. So if he doesn't nap, it's not the end of the world as long as he's not cranky later. He is going to be 4th end of October, so we're in that kind of like figuring out if we really want to keep it being a nap or if he'd go to sleep better at night not napping. So some days everybody naps, some days they don't. But my advice for that would be just push around the time. For a while we had to really work with Elliot because he wanted to go to sleep at like 10 o'clock in the morning, and I needed him to stay awake until like 11:30, 12 because there's no way George is ready at 10. Plus it would throw off the rest of our day. Elliot wasn't napping twice anymore. He's only napping once, but he still wanted it pretty early. So I just would do stuff to keep him awake. I knew that during that time I could not get him in the car. He would instantly fall asleep, and that would mess up nap time later. So just adjust it, play with it. Know it's not the end of the world if your kid's cranky for 30 minutes, and that helps you to push back the nap time to fix everybody. We will adjust, and it will work out. And I do suggest, like, move mountains if you have to. Get them to nap at all the same time, or at least have, like, a rest time. Like right now, he's still giving me time to do this video, but he is awake, but he knows it's quiet time, and the brothers are sleeping, and he'll get a little bit of time with Mama, and that's nice too. So, I think that is all the questions on here. I did get one question, and I just responded to her on a different video, but I'm going to go ahead and address it now, and that was if I would talk more about our adoption and how that came to be in foster care and stuff. And I will just say that we adopted our middle son, our little George, through the foster care system. We were foster parents first, and then we adopted him. But that is all I will say about it, because I feel like that's more his story for the details than me putting it out to the whole internet. But if you're interested in adoption or foster care, I would love to talk to you about the process of getting licensed and doing it, and any questions you have about that, specific just to the general how to do it. But to his story, we're going to say that that is his story. So, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did, and if you're new and this is your first video to watch, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll talk to y'all next time. Bye.